Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Welcome to Temple Ahavat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Matt Berger, and I'm pleased that you're here in the sanctuary joining us. And for all of you at home, good Shabbos to you. I'm joined on the bima with our soloists, Allison Rozoff, and down at the keys, Joy Katzen-Guthrie. We invite you to follow along, sing along, pray along with us on the screen, either here in the sanctuary or at home. And for those of you with access to a prayer book, if we turn to page 10, you'll find the words to a traditional Shabbos song, Heart's Delight, Source of Mercy. These are the words of Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarachaman, Avarachaman. Mishok Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, El Ritzonecha. Nefesh, Avarachaman, Avarachaman. Mishok Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, El Ritzonecha. Yarutz Avdecha, Kimoaya, Yishtakaveh, El Muladarecha. Yedid Nefesh, Avarachaman, Avarachaman. Mishok Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, El Ritzonecha. We'll be singing Light These Lights, written by Debbie Friedman. You'll find the blessing for lighting the Shabbos candles on page 2.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let
I'd like to share with you now a poem for Elul, the 12th and final month of the Jewish calendar, written by Rabbi Patty Haskell. Elul, late summer month leading into the holiest of days. It's a time of reflection, a time of return, a time of repentance. An invitation to open your heart and feel into your own depths, searching for sweetness, searching for tenderness, searching for reunion with your glorious Creator who loves your very being. Open and be. We'll continue on page 24, the words of Shalom Aleichem, peace be to you, messengers of the Most High.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Now turn to page 26, the words of the half or Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadash, Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, Biamad ivrach yute viamlich machute b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayedu kol beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv v'imaru amen Yehi shmei rabba mevarach Olam olam meyamaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yiromam V'yidnasei V'yidhadar V'yidale V'yidhalal Shemei dekudesha brichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damin ram be'ama v'imaru amen.
Let's rise now as we turn to the words of Shema and its blessings, beginning with the call to prayer on page 28.
Ya la 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 Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la la
Continue now on page 31, a prayer for creation, Ma'ariv Aravim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. And a prayer of God's love for the world, Ahavat Olam, on page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language which gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Let's open up our eyes. We prepare to sing the Shema.
Open up our eyes.
Open up our eyes.
Teach us how to live.
Teach us how to live.
Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give.
Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you barai.
Teach us how to live.
Teach us how to live.
Fill our hearts
With joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vahed. Feel free to be seated, and we'll continue chanting the words of the Shema. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your strength. Page 36 in the prayer book. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshoftecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot bachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. We'll continue with our prayer for freedom, page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we are taught forever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land. The winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Mocha Bayelim Adonai Mika Mocha Nedar Bakodesh Nora
Tehilot Ose Fele Nora Tehilot Ose Fele Micha Mocha V'ne'amar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Let's continue on page 42 with a prayer for shelter, asking for God's Sukkot Shlomecha, Sukkah of peace, to surround us each and every day.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Ve'amideinu Shomreinu leChaim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Ve'amideinu Shomreinu leChaim Ufroseinu Sukkot Shlomecha Ushmor tzidkenu uvainu Ufroseinu Sukkot Shlomecha Ushmor tzidkenu uvainu Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Ve'amideinu Shomreinu leChaim Baruch atah Adonai Aborei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu v'yakomo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
Let's turn now to the words of the Tefillah, which begin on page 46, as we rise together, hoping our prayers from our lips reach God.
Adonai, sifatai tivtachu fi agidai ilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'chonei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומחייהם אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Feel free to be seated. And we'll continue with the Emsaot, the blessings in between, in the middle. First with the holiness of Shabbat, Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat, and a prayer asking God to always keep God's presence in Zion, in Israel. Baruch Atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechinato L'Tzion. And words of gratitude and thanks called Hoda'ah in Hebrew. Baruch Atah Adonai Hatov Shimcha Ulcha Na'en Lechodot. And first we'll read this song of prayer, Birkat Shalom. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forever, for you're the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamvarech et Amo Yisrael, Shalom. Let's take these moments for our own thoughts and reflections, while Allison and Joy lead us in the singing of Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Ki atahu melech Adon l'chol hashalom b'tov beinecha livarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol leit ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם.
Let's turn now to a prayer of healing, Mishaberach, God the one who blesses, found on page 253 or on the screen before you. As we think of the following individuals in our community and beyond, for strength, for courage, and ultimately for refuah shlema, full healing. This time we think of Yonatan Ruvain ben Rivka, Charlie Burke, Marcy Bunn, Lisa Cargile, Charlotte Cohn, Emily Cruz, Carol Curtis, Eddie Deerfield, Edie Eckber, Evelyn Edelman, Heather Felser, Sue Fischelo, Harry Fleisch, Maxine Frank, Denise Freifeld, Mitchell Freifeld, Leah Gottlieb, Don Hirschman, Arthur Maller, Rayman Kari, Arnold Miller, William Miller, Dorsey Rose, Stephanie Ross, Nicole Rubin, Mary Helen Schumann-Groh, and Jeff Stark. And if there are any other names you'd like to add, either here in the sanctuary or at home.
My father, George Stark.
Mishaberach avotenu mikor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Way back in the 18th century, there was a rabbi named Shneur Zalman. He led the Jewish community of Liadi in the Russian Empire. His body of work is actually quite impressive. It runs the gamut of Jewish thought, from mysticism to psychology, from ethics to law. He wrote about all of these subjects and more. Some might recognize him as the author of the Tanya, a transformative work of mystical philosophy, while others might recognize his name as being the founder of Chabad, a branch of Hasidic Judaism, which, by the way, is actually an acronym for Chochmah, Bina, and Da'at. Chabad meaning wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. There are countless Hasidic stories about rabbis and Jewish life in the shtetl, or small village. I've shared some of them with you already. Many of them are funny, some of them are quite serious, but all of them have something important to impart, a nugget or pearl of wisdom. Now, under Rabbi Zalman's leadership, the Hasidic movement greatly expanded, but not everyone was happy with its success. Indeed, some of their opponents, called mitnagdim, went to great lengths to undermine his work. So it was in the year 1798 when our good rabbi was denounced to the Russian government as a traitor and a heretic. These opponents alleged that Rabbi Zalman was sending money from Russia to Israel to support the Turkish government. This was true, even though he was using the funds to support Hasidic Jews in the newly founded communities with Hasidic Jews in Sfat and Tiberias. That being the case, he was still arrested, and he was taken in a special black coach reserved for the most serious criminals to Petersburg, where he was thrown into prison to await his interrogation. After many days, the chief of police came into his cell, but Rabbi Zalman was deep in contemplative thought, so he didn't notice the visitor walking in. The chief, as it turned out, was a pretty thoughtful man. He noted that the rabbi had a serene expression on his face, and he intuited, now this is a person with great spiritual strength. A prisoner, yes, but a man who in many ways is still free. With this in mind, the chief dispensed with his usual litany of questions and started a conversation with the rabbi. He raised several theological questions that had occurred to him when he himself was reading Scripture. After some time, the chief asked the rabbi, "How am I to understand that God, who is all-knowing and omniscient, asked Adam in the Garden of Eden, 'Where are you?'" Rabbi Zalman replied, "Well, do you believe that Scripture is eternal and encompasses every age, every generation, and every single person?" The chief says, "Of course, I believe that." "Well now," said the rabbi, "in every age, God addresses each of us with the question, 'Where are you in your world?' Already this many years of your life have gone by. How far have you come in the world? For instance, God might say, 'You've now lived for 46 years. Where are you now?'" When the chief of police heard the exact number of his years, he pulled himself together, clasped the rabbi's shoulder, and exclaimed, "Bravo!" But even so, inside, his heart trembled. This story is almost Kafkaesque in nature. To think that Jews would disagree with one another to such an extent that they would turn in one of their own to the Russian government, no less. Savage. Such was the nature of the conflict between the Hasidim and their opponents, the mitnagdim. But Rabbi Zalman was very quick on his feet, and he wisely went back to the source for an answer to the chief's burning question, quoting the Torah as a wise rabbi is wont to do. He skillfully drew the conversation with the chief toward a particular line of reasoning, something that would stir his conscience. This is why he chose God's first question found in the Torah, which is just one word in Hebrew, ayeka, "Where are you?" It was quite brilliant, and wouldn't you know it, after 53 days of harsh questioning and languishing in prison, a good measure of investigation, the charges were thrown out and Rabbi Zalman was freed. And to this day, his followers observe the 19th day of Kislev as a holiday, the anniversary of his release. Through the lens of this Hasidic tale, we see that the story of human origins and God's first question found in Genesis can still speak to us today, especially as we draw closer day by day to the High Holy Days. Because every year on Rosh Hashanah, the birthday of the world, God asks us, "Ayeka, where are you in your world?" It's a question that naturally leads to other deeper questions. What have we done in the past year, for good or for ill? Have we changed at all? Are we on the right path? Even in such a difficult year, do we take the time to be grateful for the blessings we do have? And even with all the challenges that we know we'll face in the years to come, will we still try to do better? When you think about it, this type of self-discovery takes a whole lot more than just 10 days' time. And the sages of Jewish tradition understood this, so they gave us a pretty good amount of breathing room, an entire month before the new year. These 30 days of Elul, which started on my anniversary, the evening of August 8th, give us an annual opportunity to answer the question, Ayeka, where are you and where are we in our world? By choosing to live these days with intentionality, we can give ourselves a pretty good start. In an insightful commentary on this week's Torah portion, Shoftim, Rabbi Harold Kushner writes the following in his great book, How Good Do We Have to Be? He writes, God doesn't ask us to be perfect or to never make a mistake. Rather, we're asked to be whole, to stand before God with a whole heart, with all of our faults as well as all of our virtues, and to hear the message that we're accepted, to know what is good, to know what is evil, and to realize, even when we do something wrong, that it's not the essence of who we are. It's pretty wise words. Being a human isn't easy. In fact, it's pretty challenging. No one gets it right 100% of the time. We falter, we miss the mark, but God understands this. Therefore, we're only asked to show up wholeheartedly and offer our true and authentic self. And when we do, God will accept us, just as we need to learn to accept ourselves. That's the sacred task of this 12th and final month of the Jewish year, Elul, a time to prepare ourselves to appear before God, tamim, that's the word used in this week's Torah portion, with a whole heart. Ish tam, that's a gentle person, that was Jacob, according to the rabbis. And one of the 4 children is the tam, the simple one, the pure one. We need to be ready to face God on the first night of Rosh Hashanah. And it's fitting that even the Torah portions found during this month serve to remind us to reflect, to turn inward, and ultimately to accept us, to accept who we are. In the Hasidic story, Rabbi Zalman gently persuaded the chief of police to examine his own heart, but he didn't do it solely for his own personal gain. Rather, he recognized that the chief was a religious person. He cared about matters of theology as well as matters of the heart. Thus, even while he was in prison, Rabbi Zalman still wanted to help another human being wrestle with the essential questions of life. It's a lesson for all of us. During this season, we're asked to look inward and accept who we are, to recognize the good that we do, as well as the times we've fallen short. Every year when the high holidays roll around, God turns to us and asks, Ayeka, where are you in your world? Remember, we don't have to be perfect. We just need to be ourselves. Shabbat Shalom. Going to continue with the words of Aleinu, the adoration, found on page 282. Please rise as the ark is opened.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתהי גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא רמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Free to be seated. You'll find the words to the Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Tome, on page 294 or on the screen before you. As we call to mind and to heart families in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days mourning a loved one, as we remember Jean Patrick, mother of Sandra Plevin, Howard Fink, friend of Tom and Dorsey Rose, and Paul Joseph Landis, brother of Sally Laufer. And on this Shabbat, we mark with a sense of love and affection the Artsite anniversary of passing of loved ones. On this Shabbat, we remember Joseph Ack, Gloria Aronoff, Ruth Barr, Rose Brett Schneider, Louise Chambers, Jack Dowman, Richard Evans, Loretta Foster, Paul Goldstein, Jess Giller, Paul Hirschberg, Esther Hauer, Harry Kleinberg, Max Marco, Blanche Morris, Evelyn Opria, Samuel Plotnick, Harry Rosenstein, Oscar Ross, Harry Sabgier, Kenneth Sandler, Fanny Schneider, Julius Shapiro, Gladys Silverman, Marty Silverman, Samuel Simon, Sender Washman, Gertrude Weatherhorn, Russell E. Winslow, and Dora Zander. Are there any other names to add for Yahrzeit at this time? We say Zichronam Livracham, may the memories of all of these good people continue to be a blessing in our lives as we rise together to offer the words of Kaddish praise. Yikadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach v'ritei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'alam ulamei almayah, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, Shemei Kudusha Brihu, Ve'elam in Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechemata, Da'amiran V'Alma V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, Chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Osei Shalom B'Mramav, Hu Ya'asei Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. May the one who causes peace in the heavens cause peace to descend on us, Israel, and the world, as we say, Amen.
V'miru, 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 amen. V'miru, 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 amen.
Feel free to be seated. You'll find the words to the Shabbat Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari agafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ava uvratzon, hinhilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah, L'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat.
Amen.
Time to life.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. All right, this evening we have a special treat. Some of you may be aware that earlier this spring we introduced, on behalf of the congregation, the Cyril Shagrin Scholarship. So it's a college scholarship for a senior in high school who is going to an accredited four-year college or university that she generously endowed. I'd like to invite Cyril to come forward along with her daughter, Barbara Shagrin. We also spoke in the many conversations about this scholarship with Faye Tarragon, who was coming in from LA, sometimes by Zoom, sometimes just by phone. She is a busy person and a college counselor herself, so she was really perfect for this role as part of the selection committee. I was a member of that committee. One of our board members, Adam Abelson, and our previous religious school director, the lovely Gail Maller, was as well. And it really is a special opportunity for our family to give back. And I'm honored to invite to the Bema now our scholarship recipient, Serenity Greenfield. She's joined by members of her family, Adam and Heather. I'm going to put my mask on here. Can you hear me a little bit through the? Yeah, it's pretty good. Foggy glasses and all. And we say Mazel Tov to you, Serenity, as the winner of the 2021 Temple Ahavat Shalom Cyril Shagrin College Scholarship Award. I signed it, and a little bit earlier before the service, Cyril signed it. We are so proud of you. We, of course, wish you the best as you leave pretty soon for your studies at the University of Florida. I'll invite you just to say a few words, and then I have a prayer for you as well. Hold on one second. Let me just turn this on.
There you go. I'm so thankful to be the recipient of this scholarship. I have been a member of this temple for my whole life, and I've grown up among the Jewish community. I carry the values I've been taught here into the future with me as I go to University of Florida. I'm a person who is interested in civil rights, law, and politics, so I'll use this scholarship money to get the necessary education, to follow my passion in these subjects, and perhaps become a lawyer or a lobbyist. Ultimately, I want to have the power to make positive change in other people's lives. For this reason, I spent my quarantine volunteering with a voter registration group. I believe that civil engagement is one means of taking the responsibility of repairing the world into your own hands and working to make a difference. But I know that there are some jobs that require higher education to achieve that difference. This scholarship helps me in my journey to get to that point where I can practice tikkun olam within my job and help those who've had their voices stolen. Thank you.
And just a special prayer for you, because you're about to undergo an important journey. I'm just going to turn that off so there's no feedback. There you go. Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu, may God, who blessed our ancestors, the matriarchs as well as the patriarchs, bless you, Serenity, as you're about to embark on this sacred journey. Like Abraham, may you have the courage to embark on a new and wonderful chapter in your life. Like Isaac, may you embrace the world with love and affection. Like Jacob, may you wrestle with challenges and ultimately triumph. And like Sarah, may your experiences be filled with joy, wonder, and laughter. Like Rebecca, may you be willing to help others as you continue along your personal journey. And like Leah, may you be blessed by the love of your family and your congregation, who will always cherish you. Mazel tov to you, and I wish you the best on your journey to college. This is Cyril, and this is Barbara, and we thank you so much for being a part of this. Hold on one second.
The first recipient of this scholarship. I know you will do well.
Thank you.
As I was driving here with my daughter and thinking about what were the words I would want to share with you, because this is a really big moment in your life. And I thought about it. One of the last things that I did in my professional work was to develop a system for pulling data out of the various places where they could pull data. And then they had a contest as to what they were going to name this new system. And it came back unanimously. The name of the system is Ask Cyril. And so I want to tell you in the years to come, if there's ever a time where you need to ask, please ask Cyril.
Thank you so much.
Mazel tov. Thank you.
What's up? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, here's your. There you go. And to the Shagrin family, we thank you so much for your generosity, and just for all of you to know, if you'd like to make a donation to the Sarah Chagrin Scholarship for rising freshmen in college, you can feel free to do that. Just a few announcements. First and foremost, many thanks to Allison for beautiful singing and for the keyboard expertise, pianist Joy Katzen-Guthrie, and the tech crew for your help. And we had some additional members of our tech crew save the day as something was going on in and around the Barhu area, but I really couldn't do much to help for that. So good save right there. The Sisterhood High Holy Day Honey fundraiser is still taking place. Bring some sweetness to your new year by purchasing a delicious jar of honey to use with that round challah at the new year. You can use the link in our Tuesday Happenings email. Also, you'll find in the Happenings email, which we put out weekly, donation form for the Rosh Hashanah sponsored by the Temple Brotherhood. So I ask you to support that and send a warm Shana Tova to the congregation on your behalf. And for a bit of social action, the Social Action Committee is putting together a team with RepairTheSea.org for the Reverse Tashlik Beach Cleanup. That's going to take place on September 12th at Honeymoon Island. We'll be sure to keep this a very socially distant event. It's from 9:30 to about 12:30. You can come for however long or little that you'd like to participate in this mitzvah. And for our closing song, you'll find it, Oseh Shalom Bimromav, may the one who causes peace in the heavens. It's also on page 62 of your prayer books. B minor. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. And as we've been doing at the end of our service, we'll conclude with a prayer for our health and well-being, the importance of wearing a mask at this point, whether you're vaccinated or not, for our protection and for the life and health of others. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al shmirat hanefesh, for the mitzvah and sacred obligation to protect life. Say Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Thanks so much for joining us in person, and for those of you joining us at home, hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend until we see you next Friday night. Shabbat Shalom.
Joy, thank you very much. That was beautiful.